Why pesties?
The pneumonic plague?
Yes, the plague, Mr. Palmer. This man has never had the plague. He's never had the plague.
He has never had the plague.
He never had the damn plague!
Exciting developments in the NCIS universe. Meet the new villain and the latest spin-off. As fans eagerly dive into the latest season of NCIS, a chilling new antagonist emerges, Gabriel LaRoche, portrayed by Seamus Dever. This complex villain is set to challenge our favorite agents in ways we've never seen before. Meanwhile, NCIS Origins, the franchise's highly anticipated spin-off, has debuted to modest ratings, facing tough competition from the NFL. For those unfamiliar with the NCIS legacy, a fresh perspective emerges as a newcomer shares their thoughts on this sprawling universe. What makes NCIS a beloved franchise, and how does LaRoche fit into the larger narrative? Don't miss the full story to discover all the twists and turns awaiting you. Hey, lovely viewers, welcome to our channel Shows Update. Who is NCIS Season 22's villain, Gabriel LaRoche? Seamus Dever's new character explained. NCIS Season 22 introduced a new villain, Gabriel LaRoche, to the series, and it's about time. Some of the best seasons of NCIS involve an overarching narrative with a recurring villain, setting up NCIS Season 22 to stand out among the rest. The series cast Seamus Dever as the Gabriel LaRoche character, who had a mysterious role in the Season 22 opening investigation. LaRoche's positioning in the case flipped during the premiere, introducing a shifty character to challenge Alden Parker, Gary Cole, and his major case response team, MCRT. LaRoche will join the ranks of the other villains of the series, like NCIS antagonist Ari Haswari, Rudolph Martin, who joined the series in NCIS Season 1. Ari's narrative revolved around Ziva David, Cote de Pablo, and her introduction to the series in NCIS Season 3. Ziva eventually revealed that Ari was her half-brother, and how the events played out with Ari through some of the best episodes of NCIS set up considerable shifts in the NCIS universe. As such, LaRoche's presence in the series could set up even more significant events. NCIS Season 22 premiere introduces Gabriel LaRoche. Seamus Dever is DOJ Inspector Gabriel LaRoche. The NCIS Season 22 premiere included Seamus Dever as Department of Justice DOJ Inspector General Gabriel LaRoche. McGee reached out to LaRoche to help them find Special Agent Torres, Wilmer Valderrama, after he called into the hello line at NCIS, set up so that Torres can always check in during his deep undercover mission with a local fentanyl dealer. The moment was when NCIS introduced the IJ, who refused to help Timothy McGee, Sean Murray, and referred to NCIS as a lesser agency, when the team suspected a leak of NCIS information because their raids of Nexus hideouts, those used by a local cartel connected to Nick's undercover assignment, had all been flops. LaRoche confirmed the apparent leak. He revealed NCIS was under investigation after the DOJ tracked a large deposit to an offshore account. At the end of their investigation, the team was shocked to uncover, per their perpetrator, that the only person who could have leaked NCIS information was DOJ Inspector LaRoche. To worsen things, LaRoche was appointed NCIS Deputy Director at the end of the premiere. How LaRoche's new position impacts MCRT's NCIS Season 22 story. LaRoche will be back to NCIS Season 22. LaRoche will likely have a considerable influence on the NCIS Season 22 story. At the end of the Season 22 premiere, LaRoche's role in the leak of NCIS information was left unresolved, but it looked like LaRoche was a mole. In NCIS Season 22, Parker's MCRT must prove the alleged connection. The MCRT's investigation of LaRoche must be covert since the former IJ is in arms with NCIS as its deputy director. For instance, Director Leon Vance, Rocky Carroll, was not yet aware of LaRoche's suspected betrayal, and the team will have to convince Vance their investigation has merit. Torres and McGee's ties to LaRoche via the Nexus cartel and the deputy director position will provide the agents with the background they need. While Parker's team has their work cut out for them in Season 22 with the new villain revealed, they have plenty of assets to help take LaRoche down. Jessica Knight, Katrina Law, has returned to the team after 6 months at Camp Pendleton in California. Agent Knight will be essential to the investigation, especially since it involved one of her former REACT trainees. Torres and McGee's ties to LaRoche via the Nexus cartel and the deputy director position will provide the agents with the background they need to hit the ground running. Who plays LaRoche? Seamus Dever's most notable roles. Seamus Dever played different characters in the NCIS franchise before. Dever has a rich history within the franchise and its many NCIS spin-off shows. He first appeared in the NCIS universe as Corporal Caden Duran in JAG, a 1990s legal procedural show from which NCIS spun off. He returned the following year in Season 4 of NCIS as Graham Thomas. The occasion marked Dever's first character in the flagship NCIS, but it was just a one-off appearance. After many years away from the show, Dever popped up in NCIS, Los Angeles and NCIS, Hawaii in the 2020s, landing a recurring role in the Cali-based series. Monday ratings, NCIS, Origins gets modest launch on CBS opposite NFL on ABC. NCIS, Origins, a NCIS Virgin reviews the franchise's new spin-off. I had only seen one episode of NCIS before I watched NCIS, Origins. This is not a brag. Normally, as a reviewer, I'd try to conceal my ignorance as best as possible. Ideally, I'd take time to catch up on episodes of the original before attempting to discuss the prequel in order to place the series in its proper context. In this case, that wasn't necessary because NCIS, Origins is an all-you-can-eat buffet of cop clichés. If you've ever seen a procedural, on film or on TV, you'll be able to follow this one just fine. Monday night's 2-part series premiere, Enter Sandman, opens with the first of many folksy aphorisms, this series' love language. My dad used to say, wherever you go, there you are. I guess he was right. Mark Harmon, whose return to the series is a huge deal according to the Variety articles I read in anticipation of this review, growls in voiceover over close-up shots of grizzled hands building a fire in the wilderness. This refers to the arc of his character, Leroy Jethro Gibbs, a fan favorite whose backstory as a Marine sniper-turned-Navy cop is explored in NCIS, Origins. He keeps running, but his problems keep catching up with him. Maybe he should try therapy? He does have a lot to unpack. As NCIS, Origins begins, Gibbs, played here by Austin Stoll, is a young man who has just been assigned to the NIS, Naval Intelligence Service. The SC, for criminal, was added later, at Camp Pendleton in California after returning home from a tour of duty in Iraq. The first time around, Origins is set in 1991. It's mentioned several times that Gibbs failed his psych evaluation before taking the NIS job, and he really has no business carrying a gun. But he does carry one. And he's a steadier shot than the rest of them, trauma be damned. You see, while Gibbs was away in Iraq, his wife and daughter were murdered. Why? Because a man needed a motivation. Duh. It's presumed that the viewer already knows this bit of Gibbs lore, which is not reenacted on screen. What we get are shots of empty rooms with toys on the floor, and a flashback where the older Gibbs monologues about gut instincts while the younger Gibbs leaves home to report for duty. His daughter salutes him in the rearview mirror as he drives away. It's a cheap sentiment, but it's not as bad as the visual metaphor of Gibbs trying, and failing, to pull his wedding ring off of his swollen finger. His knuckles are battered, because he got into a bar fight the night before he started at the NIS. A noble one. Naturally, there have been 46 seasons of NCIS spread across 5 franchises, Origins is the 6th, but the show keeps coming back to Gibbs. He's a stoic character and an essentially conservative one. He respects authority but has little patience for bureaucracy, which lands him in a cowboy-like good guy with a gun category that feels most comfortable to those who believe that A, there's such a thing as clearly delineated good guys and bad guys, and B, they will always fall on the good guy side. Older white men, a key demographic for both NCIS and CBS in general, often fall into this group. This series will do little to challenge its core audience's mindset, as NCIS Origins takes the stereotypical traits of the John Wayne-style lawman and expands them into an all-encompassing worldview. This show hates reporters and the FBI, both seen as parasites trying to stop the real work happening on the ground. Fancy boys and empty suits secretly envy the gut instincts of the hardened investigator, whose instincts are never wrong and are always won through experience. And in Gibbs' profession, experience is synonymous with bloodshed. Sometimes a lot of men have to die for you to learn to trust your gut, the older Gibbs growls. Gibbs' boss Mike Franks, Kyle Schmid, is very much on the same page when it comes to protocol and instinct. A more sharply written show might explore whether Gibbs' perspective is influencing his recollections, or how much Frank's influence shaped Gibbs' attitude towards his life and work. On Origins, it's once again about reinforcing the audience's beliefs, as Frank's no-nonsense attitude makes him a beloved and respected figure amongst his team. It also provides a conduit for more folksy aphorisms. "You two are fighting like a couple of buck-toothed chinchillas," Franks admonishes two of his agents at one point. Another gesture toward comfort and familiarity comes in the formation of the team that will support Gibbs, Franks, and their colleague Special Agent Lala Dominguez, Mariel Molino, who we'll get to in a minute. One thing I do know about NCIS is that Polly Parrott played a goth forensic scientist with cute bangs on the show for forever and 15 years, according to IMDb. And Origins gives us her 90s counterpart, a pink-haired forensic scientist who's molding a skull out of clay with obvious delight. In the first episode, there are lots of charmingly eccentric technicians in the background of NCIS Origins, not to mention sassy support staff and skeptical superiors. Personally, I was tickled to see Patrick Fischler, better known to me as the guy who sees the witch behind the Winkies dumpster in Mulholland Drive, as NIS bossman Cliff Walker. A broadcast procedural is solid work with good residuals. Cash those checks, Patrick. There aren't many ghoulish shots of desiccated corpses in the 4 episodes of NCIS Origins that were screened for critics, but there is a darkly humorous streak. A scene where the NIS crew laughs at a suspect's belief in Mothman is amusing. But the use of Eternal Flame as Frank's pump-up music as he's investigating a case where a woman was shot and her corpse lit on fire is thoughtless, tasteless, or perhaps a little of both. That being said, it plays better than a fumbled subplot where Dominguez's concern about sexism in the NIS is dismissed by Franks as a distraction. "Honey, I love women," he says, which is what men who aren't sexist say when a female colleague trusts them with their thoughts about a workplace issue. He then accuses her of acting like a bitch in heat around Gibbs, when she just told him that she's worried about being passed over for a promotion now that he's on the team. They'll all go out for beers afterwards, and generic rock riffs will play on the soundtrack at the bar. Dominguez, ever the tough chick, will cry, "Shots on me, boys," as Gibbs sits alone at a table and stares into his bottled domestic. The origins of NCIS will play out much like the previous 21 seasons of the show and its spin-offs, because nobody tunes into the 6th incarnation of a long-running procedural for something challenging. They tune in for lovable characters, familiar scenarios, and messaging that confirms what they already believe to be true about crime and law enforcement. In this sense, NCIS. Thanks for watching this videos. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.